Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Paul C. Meltzer, James Finley Jr., Penfield Town Court. A $208,000 hack and fossil Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been in jail 6 times. 6 times prosecutors now talked in court. Not one word, not one sound, not one syllable. Perry Douglas, Deputy District Attorney of Monroe County. What are the names of my prosecutors? This is a document that's going to arrive in your office today. It's called Sexual Harassment at Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, and Judge Alex Renzi. The documents on it too. Is there sexual harassment in the Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office? The answer is yes. Have you used taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits under Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act? You tell me the answer, yes or no. Perry Douglas, this is in your office. The foil over and over and over about sexual harassment. Michael Bradley, this is in your office. The foil over and over and over about sexual harassment. April 10th, 2023. Here's your emails up here. Second Paths Incorporated. Christopher Chichester 61 gmail.com. Mailing names by prosecutor silence. The address is upon Rochester, New York. Read the 6 attached PDF documentation. Answer me about sexual harassment. Your office resign. YouTube sexual harassment. That's Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Judge Alex Renzi. YouTube degenerate. Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Judge Alex Renzi. Court order Laura Riley. Fusel. Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Alex Renzi. YouTube corruption, fanaticism, Penfield Town Court, $28,000 policy answer. How you hacks and sociopaths allow and force defendants into this vile room that's called Penfield Town Court before $28,000 Paul C. Metzer, $34,000 John P. Lemenzo Jr., $34,000 James Finley Jr. is a disgrace. There's no jury of 12 in there. There's no table for a prosecutor. There's no table for a defense attorney. There's not even a witness box for testimony. You go in there and the defendant's skull stands there like a Soviet Union show trial, and it's just declared guilty by one of these hacks and sociopaths, Paul C. Metzer, John P. Lemenzo Jr., or James Finley Jr. How's Penfield Town Court a courtroom? Deputy District Attorney Perry Douglas, you've been in there, right? Everybody's guilty. So, attached to this, it's going to be in your offices. I think this could be 4,000, 5,000 words to Alex Calabrese, President, Chief Executive Officer, Lollipop Farm Humane Society of Greater Rochester, about you hacks, sociopaths, showing my registered man, my dog. It continues here, and I'm telling her what's going on with me in the Sheriff's Office. I had to go back to Lollipop to get my little guy twice. Degenerates, I swear you're degenerates, coming to my residence, demand my dog 4,000 times, 7 years. I walk my dog. One phone call from Raj and Layla Kumar shot 2033 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, and there's 2 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees on my register demanding my little guy. It's a vicious confrontation provoked by a 50-year-old man who lives with a 70-year-old mother. And Shannon Meyer. Todd Baxter's now $83,000 sociopath. So there it is again, same letter attached. What are the names of my prosecutors? Perry Douglas. Does prosecutor talk before Perry Douglas? So I was evicted from my residence. This goes into detail about consumer credit counseling service because I've represented a payee. They just didn't pay my rent. Refusal. It's called refusal because you're refusing to disclose the names of my prosecutors. Mail the names of my prosecutors. Policy address is Rochester. You read the 6 attached PDF document and resign. It's April 7th. 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, 14604. Mail the names of my prosecutors to that address. Before $28,000 Paul C. Messer in Penfield Town Court, $34,000 John P. Lenzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court, and his $208,000 hack and fossil, Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court, was over there at the Hackocracy at 99 Exchange Boulevard in Rochester, where there were 18 hacks. 24% of the vote. Alex Renzi is in New York State Supreme Court. An abomination. He's not even remotely close to 50. Presidents have been elected with less than 50% of the vote. Presidents have never been elected with 24% of the vote, like this hack and fossil. Who's the assistant district attorney? Perry Douglas. who forced me into Alex Renzi to be declared guilty? Who is it? And you refuse to answer, and that's why you're corrupt. Is Julie Hahn my prosecutor before John P. Lenzer Jr. stood in total silence? Who didn't win is now in a Monroe County court, 17% of the vote. What a joke. What's the name of the 5'2", 3-piece suit boy before Paul C. Metzler called the prosecutors down, backing down? Public defender Julie Sianka. That's what your subordinate assistant public defender Regina Harper said to me. Regina, what's the name of this boy? You know this boy's name. And you've been refusing for over a year to tell me. I asked you directly to your face what's his name, and you refuse to tell me. That's called corruption. And the names of these are refusal, corruption, fanaticism, Pemberton Court, $28,000 policy, and that's abuse of power, ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And that YouTube, here's all your emails, the psychopath incorporated your names, I should say. It's ludicrous. This is ludicrous to look at a freedom of information law and refuse to disclose the names of our prosecutors. Corruption and fanaticism. How any citizen in Penfield can be delivered to this nauseating, disgusting, vile, sick hack, Paul C. Metzler, for her to determine guilt or innocence? This is the last person in Monroe County who should decide guilt or innocence. She is drenched in hatred. She has no idea what's going on in Penfield Town Court. She looks to concoct the charge of fiction and lie. She's just there to determine guilt. I'm extremely sorry, Paul C. Metzler, for the death of your husband, Eric Metzler, at 51 years old, leaving you as a widow to live alone with your dogs. So my condolences to you, Paula C. Metzler, for your husband, Eric C. Metzler, being either 6 feet under or incinerated. Ludicrous Sheriff Todd Baxter again. I hope that drove you up the wall, you bald-headed widow. Silence of Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka. What are the names of our prosecutors, Julie Sianka? What is the problem? There is a problem. Tell me what it is. You know these names. This is April 2nd. Julie Sianka, Monroe County Public Defender. 10 North Fitzhugh Street, where I have been. When I had respect for Regina Harper, Mark Phillips. Rochester, New York. Mail the names on prosecutors, silence the address below. Rochester, New York. Read the 10 attached PDF documents. Resign. I'm not trying to be dramatic. You need to resign. This is a public proceeding where every single assistant district attorney is paid by tax dollars. The public proceeding exists because of taxpayer dollars. What are the names of my prosecutors? Public defender Julie Sianka. 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. YouTube, $413,918.94. Assistant First Assistant 30 Perry Douglas identifying prosecutors. It says over and over on here, silence of Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka, identifying prosecutors, silence. To you, Julie Sianka, again, identifying prosecutors, silence. And one of them is called insane, because it's insane to refuse to identify a name in a public proceeding that's a prosecutor who has never talked for me. April 1, mail names on prosecutor, silence. The address listed in Rochester, New York. Read the attached PDF document, resign. The same links there. This is in your office today. Every single one of these. Identification. One with the most basic word. What are their names? The reason why I'm demanding their names is because the Appellate Division of State Supreme Court is where an attorney is disbarred. And that's what I will pursue for each one of these prosecutors. A prosecutor that stands in court anywhere in the United States of America and doesn't make an argument that the defendant committed a crime must be disbarred. I'm confident they will be disbarred when I go into details about everything that's happened to me, including how I've been violently attacked because of these prosecutors' silence at Monroe County Jail and Livingston County Jail. And who made the decision to send me to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo? You did that to me, you bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzler. How is that explained? This is the frightening thing, or a frightening thing about this bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzler. She knows she doesn't have to explain anything, and she's in there with 6,000 votes. So, same thing. I'm telling you to disclose the names on prosecutor's silence on March 30th. I changed the email. This email was Chichester Chris 7 at Proton Mail. I never used the same email twice to avoid being blocked. Like right here, this is called insane, because it's insane not to disclose the names on my prosecutor's silence. Christopher.Chichester3 at Proton.me. I have a Proton Mail account, a paid mail account, which is not cheap because I'm reaching you That's why I pay to reach Psychopaths Incorporated. Right here. Same links for insane. It's insane not disclosing names of prosecutors in public proceeding. So, City of Freaks. Rochester, New York is a city of freaks. It's the third city I lived in. Albany, New York is not a city of freaks like Rochester, New York. Washington, D.C. is not a city of freaks like Rochester, New York. I explained over and over, including last time I was on here about it, why Rochester, New York is a city of freaks. That document there. See? This is the FedEx tracking. It should arrive today. If it doesn't arrive today, it's definitely going to get there tomorrow. That document there is arriving to Todd Baxter, Sheriff, 130 South Plymouth Avenue. Scott Alberti, he's at 955 Panorama Channel. Do you know Richard J. Seidman, Scott? Walked into the Pennsylvania Public Library and violently attacked me and being stalked by this psychopath and his partner. Call Richard J. Seidman into your office. If in fact it's 955 Panorama Trail, Scott, because I have been out there and I saw Seidman out there. Ask him, why did you stalk and follow a citizen into Pennsylvania Public Library and did you attack him? Ask him that, Scott. Todd Thurston, the Community Engagement Officer. I try not to impugn your integrity because I don't know you, Scott, and I don't know you, Todd. But I certainly know Todd Baxter, who came up to me at the parade on East Main Street recently. We had a brief conversation as he walked away. I said to Sheriff Todd Baxter as he walked away from me, tell your employees to stop violently attacking me. Sworn officers of law with a badge and holster weapon, common thugs and criminals like Richard J. Seidman will not be fired. Sandra Doorley, what are the names of my prosecutors? Silence. Elizabeth Buckley. I believe you have the local courts. Elizabeth Buckley, what are the names of my prosecutors? Silence. Lisa Gray, counsel to the district attorney. What are the names of my prosecutors? Silence. Perry Douglas, deputy district attorney, who I believe is the de facto district attorney in Monroe County, gets a radical client health. Sandra Doorley, what are the names of my prosecutors? Silence. The next name is the name that has regulatory power and control over you. Trinity Ross, the United States Attorney in Western District of New York, who's in Buffalo. She has a Rochester office. This here is a public employee. I used to ride my bike in Washington, D.C., because I worked there for 5 years as a U.S. House Human Senate staffer. This public employee, the address for this public employee is 950 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C., 205300009. So this public employee is Merrick B. Garland. So I sent this to him, this document here. I don't know if he'll open it up, given the prominence and the magnitude of this public employee, Merrick B. Garland. There's more power than the President of the United States in the White House. But this is being sent to him. And I hope the Attorney General of the United States, a distinguished American, will open it and look at it. Alex Renzi, New York State Police Colonel, which one of you hacks and sociopaths forced me into him? He's not just any hacker sociopath at the 18th at the Hackocracy at 99 Strength. He's the hack, he's the sociopath who sits there, waits for me alone, where he knows nothing. I said to him when I was in there, you had to go to Atlanta, Georgia to go to law school. You couldn't get into a law school in the state of New York because he's a graduate of Emory Law School in Atlanta, Georgia. And I said to Alex Renzi, they're really prominent because they're in the top 500 ranked Emory Law School. Not exactly Harvard. I think this is his clerk, Lisa Preston. I don't know what title. Lisa Preston is New York State Supreme Court. I believe that she works or reports to Alex Renzi. She has to. She runs everything over there at the Hackocracy. Paul C. Metz from Tampa Town Court. How'd you get my healthcare records? My former employees, United States Senate, United States House of Representatives, passed the Health Insurance Privacy Protection Act of 1996 to properly protect healthcare records. Sheriff Todd Baxter gave you my healthcare records, you bald-headed widow. I've said this over and over because you know what my mother and father know. You know Paul C. Metzer. You sickening, disgusting, bald-headed widow. You, Paul C. Metzer, know what I only told my mother and father. And this is a federal crime, Paul C. Metzer, for you to have my healthcare records. And you have my healthcare records, you bald-headed widow, because Sheriff Todd Gay Baxter delivered my healthcare records to you at 1985 Bad Road, Penfield Court. So, James Miller Jr., Man Benin, stands over me, a gin punches down, my head snaps back violently. Who did I just harass? Andrew Reale arrives. We go out to his vehicle. Reale tells me to wait in the backseat of the vehicle. He marches Benin around to the side of the vehicle. He says these 7 words to me. I want to press charges against you. I'm charged with harassment. Second, I appear before John Pilomenzo Jr. I go to Monroe County Jail. When I get out of jail, I get a subpoena to go into Pamphlet Town Court. Jermaine Lamar Benman has to appear before you. What happened, James Mully Jr.? Jessica Wagner, the district attorney's office, negotiated a deal with you and the attorney for Jermaine Benman to let this violent criminal, thug, and predator walk right out the door. James Mully Jr., does Jermaine L. Benman have a prior criminal record? District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Perry Douglas, does Jermaine L. Benman have a prior criminal record? And if he has a prior criminal record, here's James Mully Jr. allowing him to go free because you're in the embrace of violence, James Mully Jr. Jessica Wagner's no longer employed at the district attorney's office. Do I have that right? I hope this is because of me, because I've been on here repeatedly about her. She's a de facto defense attorney and public defender for this violent thug criminal, Jermaine Benman. So, last one is Laura Riley. I'll never know if she gets this. She works at the Pepperell Public Library, I believe. She took all my things to the storage locker. But I'm locked out of the residence where I used to live out with Laura, 26 Sanders Farm Drive. A relationship ended. I get out of Livingston County Jail. I run down Penfield Road from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. This is 1984 of you Benito Mussolini, skinhead Todd Baxter. I leave Livingston County Jail. I made a brief pit stop, though. And then I had to go to Livingston County Jail, that process. Then they drove me, two Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees, to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office in Rochester, where I processed where I did not receive my wallet. I run back down Penfield Road. I think I'm going to open up the door and get in. And the end of this nightmare. The door's locked. Anthony Ospano, my 80-year-old psychopath landlord, locked the door and locked me out. The sliding glass door was broken. I'd slide it and walk in. He fixed it. He removed the key with the New York Mets logo beneath my porch. This is what a psychopath he is. He went underneath the back porch. He's looking for a key. He wants to lock me out. When I write the criminal complaint about 80-year-old Anthony Ospano locking me out without a court order, Anthony Ospano's not going to be arrested. What I don't know is my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, pardon me, Laura Riley, who I've known for 35 years, has taken every single thing to a storage locker in Webster and thrown away my things because my books are not in there. My 1,000+ books are gone. Anthony Ospano's not going to be arrested. I'll write the criminal complaint about my ex-girlfriend doing this to me without a court order. She won't be arrested either because you don't know what a crime is at the district attorney's office, sheriff's office. What's justice about in the United States of America? It's about money. If I had money, I would be able to protect myself from you psychopaths and you sociopaths at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and Monroe County District Attorney's Office that I think about. It's just the way I thought about the mafia in New York City in the 1970s and 1980s. So, I've contacted you. I'm being registered mail return receipt too. This is on April 6th. Everything I was doing up until April 6th, I think it was a month from the 4 weeks leading to April 6th when I was on YouTube. This went to Sheriff Todd Baxter, Deputy Todd Thurston. I'm being violently attacked by Richard J. Seaman in his $75,000 salary at Todd Penn Public Library. And I've also been violently attacked at the pharmacy next to Wegmans by another psychopath Monroe County Sheriff Office employee. And your female employee with the Marine-style haircut and tattoos, Todd, can identify him, and he won't. District Attorney Sandra, what are the names of our prosecutors? Lisa Gray, counsel to the District Attorney's Office, what are the names of our prosecutors? Lisa Gray. Perry Douglas, Deputy District Attorney, Monroe County, what are the names of our prosecutors? Perry Douglas. United States Attorney for Western District, New York, Trinity Ross. Miss Ross is at 138 Avenue, Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. So she's going to get this. I don't know what's going to happen. She could just look at it or not look at it and not care. Or she could reach a conclusion that my civil and constitutional rights have been smashed into a million little pieces by you psychopaths. Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. Who made the decision to force me into Alex Renzi as the prosecutor assigned to Alex Renzi? And who is it? Who is it, Perry Douglas? Is it you? Julie Sianka, Monroe County Public Defender's Office. Julie Sianka, what are the names of my prosecutor's silence? Mark Phillips, the Monroe County Public Defender's Office. Mark, what are the names of my prosecutor's silence? Gina Harper, the Monroe County Public Defender's Office. Gina, what are the names of my prosecutor's silence? Paul C. Metzer, James Riley Jr., and then I'm back to Todd Baxter. So, this is not coming to the Public Defender's Office because I only had so much money where it says sexual harassment. I did not send this to Julie Sianka, Paul C. Metzer, and Mark Phillips, given the cash I had in my hand. Because I thought it's going to come back to me and it's going to be $60 for the three of them. But I'm on here now. I will continue to send you documentation, registered mail return receipt, Julie Sianka, Paul C. Metzer, and Mark Phillips. You know how you get rid of me? You know how you never hear from me again? You will never hear from me again. I will take your emails off an email that I use to contact the sheriff's office and district attorney's office. I won't send you a single parcel from UPS, FedEx, registered mail, return receipt. All you have to do, Julie Sianka, Regina Harper, Mark Phillips, is disclose the names of my prosecutors. That's all you have to do. It's astounding to me that you're refusing. It really is. You know what that's called? It's called corruption, Julie Sianka. A public defender that refuses to disclose the names of a prosecutor in public proceeding for a defendant. That's corruption. 70 times. I've sent the foil in these packets I'm going to show right now, momentarily. There are 70 in each one of these. 70. And do you know how many you complied with? Every single one of these that I'm going to show? 0. That's corruption. So, right here, this is December 14th. The first one, the documentation signed by District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, created quote conviction integrity unit within the District Attorney's office. You have to have a separate bureaucracy to police yourself at the District Attorney's office. This is a total complete disgrace. December 14th. In here, the last one I'm going to read, which is written in red. Psychopaths like the color red. I'll note that repeatedly. I'll read the first one, and then the last one, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to show you the foil that interests me the most. Contracts, there's corruption in contracting. Todd Baxter, how do you pay for your weapons with tax dollars? December 22nd. When I contact Controller Thomas B. DiNapoli, he'll be able to look at this and see, well, why didn't they answer this citizen? Todd Baxter, do you think that the weapons were sent to you for free? I mean, do you think that the United States Department of Defense just mails you these weapons and you don't pay anything for them? Who's the contractor? You decided how to purchase your weapons, not just the handguns. You got long guns too. You got any number. You have an arsenal, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. And how's it paid for and who's the contractor? When I contact Controller Thomas B. DiNapoli, I hope to be in the next 2 to 4 weeks. I don't know. I hope it'll be less than 4 weeks. I'm going to say I've been on here repeatedly with this one. Contract signed by Sheriff Todd Baxter to purchase firearms from Miami County Sheriff's Office employees to include the name of the firearms contract, the number of firearms purchased, total amount of taxpayer dollars purchased firearms. And you're refusing. This is the same one again. That was December 22nd, December 28th. I'll just look at the second one. The contract signed by District Attorney Sandra Doorley to purchase an automobile and automobiles, driver, chauffeur for District Attorney Sandra, and office supplies. Perry Douglas, this pathetic diva who doesn't know if she's a Democrat or Republican, wait at her house, and then she have a chauffeur or driver show up and then drive her from Webster, New York, where she lives, into the District Attorney's office at 47 South Midview. What's the answer? I mean, does she think she's a Madonna? Or does she get behind the wheel and drive herself in to the office? Tell me what the answer is. Please have a chauffeur or driver, Sandra Doorley. Please. Again, January 5th, again with the firearms. The first one, January 5th. This is a new one. This is January 8th, but those ones there in this one here. I changed the first one so I could read it easier. The documentation signed by Pembroke Town Court Judge James McMillan Jr. for the case of defendant Jermaine L. Benman with the assigned employee of the District Attorney's Office. This is District Attorney Jessica Wagner, an assistant district attorney who embraces violence, who's protecting a violent criminal, and I do not know if he's a prior criminal record. It's Jessica Wagner. She's no longer employed, right? Is that because of me? I hope. Well, January 10th, total number of contracts signed by District Attorney Sandra Doorley to purchase products, commodities, goods, materials in Miami County District Attorney's Office. How do you get your pens, your paper, your pads, your copy machines? I demand to know how every single dollar is expended. This is the same one for the contracting for the District Attorney's Office that I read, and that was on January 18th. Now, this one here, January 28th. There's a red pen there. Copy of the private healthcare records delivered to $28,000 Paulson Letzer by Sheriff Todd Baxter of Miami County in violation of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996 called HIPAA. January 28th. You don't contact me saying, we don't know what you're talking about. You don't contact my UPS address. This is federal law. And Paula C. Metzler knows what I only told my mother and father. How is that possibly explained? Todd Baxter, you're giving my healthcare records to Paul C. Metzler because you asked me a question, Paul C. Metzler. You said to me, have you been to, and then you stated where I was. because of Caroline Easton at the Rochester Institute of Technology was copied on here with a fake, phony, fraudulent document. I went from Monroe County Jail to this particular institution with a fake document from this academic quack at RIT who knows nothing about me. So, I've contacted RIT President David C. Munson Jr. about Caroline Easton. I don't hear anything. What I don't know is that corruption and fanaticism and hatred, when it descends on you and then you accurately describe it to these people doing this to you, is silent. I don't hear anything from the president of RIT. I don't hear anything from Caroline Easton. A fake, phony, fraudulent document has me in the place I went to after Monroe County Jail. And then I was released by Dr. Jeremy Smith, who said to me, there's nothing wrong with you. You should be able to figure out where I was, which I'm not going to say, because I hate to say it, that's why. Bring you information on this January 28th. The documentation for the case of Christopher Chávez, where John P. Lorenzo Jr. Town Court, what is the name of the prosecutor, Joy? Perry Douglas, this is Julie Hahn. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chávez, where Paul C. Meltz from Town Court, what is the name of the prosecutor? This is the 5'2" 3-piece suit boy that Regina Harper, the public defender's office, said to me, the prosecutor not backing down. A real Rambo in total silence. This boy and Paul C. Meltz decided I'm going to be in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. It should never happen in the United States of America to anybody. Two people decide a citizen's going to eat jail, and she knows absolutely nothing. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chávez, New York State Supreme Court, for Alex Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra? Two females were standing behind my last appearance when Alex Renzi said I was finished and done, which is not true. This would be a record of it. You'll just compel me to go into Renzi or somebody else just to be declared guilty when you know you don't have to talk at the district attorney's office. I'm just going to open this up to see. Oh, yes, I'll open this up for another one. John P. Lorenzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court released Daniel Glaus III, an accused child rapist in Penfield Town Court, because he knows the family. And in the Democratic Chronicle story, he said that the documents, quote, defective. So I want to see these defective documents. Defective documents cited by John P. Lorenzo Jr., the Democratic Chronicle newspaper, after the case of Daniel Glaus III. He refused. I walked to Penfield Town Court with this foil with a different date. I go to the window when Lomenzo was still there. I said, my name's Chris Chávez, so I want to see the defective documents for the case of Dan Glaus III. I go home for my run, and John P. Lomenzo Jr. called the Monroe County Office of Mental Health for me going to Penfield Town Court to demand documentations for how he released accused child rapist Dan Glaus III. Because Lindsey Barron of Monroe County Office of Mental Health came to my residence. I'm not going to go into that facts, circumstances, that again. Now, Todd, baby, what do I have here? This is the high-resolution color photo. What's that called? Employees of the Sheriff's Office. Michael Radler, can you tell me what that is? Scott O'Brody, can you tell me what that is? Kathleen Miller, can you tell me what that is? Todd Thurston, can you tell me what that is? Because you already have. That's called the surveillance device. When I call the surveillance device, you call Lindsey Barron, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health. Regina Harper sent me the links. I've seen myself on this thing over and over. So my question that I've asked and demanded over and over and over. This is private technology that you used for a building called a business called Consumer Insights at a building at 2025 Penfield Road. Would you buy it and fix it for me? So, over and over, you're refusing. And that's insane. A warrant for my arrest for a parking lot. I have walked through 4,000 times. And that is insane. Now, that's what I'm looking for here. That same photo, I'll show it to you again. The great Mike Pompeo, the Central Intelligence Agency, tell you that's a surveillance device. January 16, 2023, Todd K. Baxter, Sheriff, this photograph is why you're a fanatic. This photograph is why you're an extremist. This photograph is why you're a liar. This photograph is why I'm no name is $67,000 disgusting act Jenna Meyer. This photograph is why people hate the police. I haven't opened this yet. Paul C. Metro, I don't know what this is. It's just you telling me you want to send me to jail as one person. You bald-headed widow. Telling my residence to demand my little guy. I'm not going to talk about that again. It's ridiculous, insane. You are insane at that sheriff's office and district attorney's office. Perry Douglas. Rochester, New York. I have been in jail 6 times. And 6 times the prosecutor's not talked in court. I have been demanding from you and your corrupt skedaddle boss, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, for 18 plus months, did you disclose the names of my prosecutor's assignments? And you and your boss have refused every single time. How is any citizen in jail one time when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? That's happened to me 6 times. And this is the lunatic fringe Deputy District Attorney Perry Douglas. Monroe County Public Defender's Office of Julie Sianka, with her employees Mark Phillips and Regina Harper, also refused to disclose the names of my prosecutors for silence. I can see these individuals. You should never forget it, Perry Douglas, when your life is smashed into a million little pieces by a fanatical, corrupt prosecutor. What do you think about what I'm saying 90 seconds into this YouTube, Perry Douglas? Because I have contacted you previously as I looked at the title to get it correct. Prosecutors of Perry Douglas, disclosure of Perry Douglas. This is called accountability of Perry Douglas. And you'll see attached to this is violence of Todd Baxter and names of Julie Sianka. So, what's the problem in Jonestown, Perry Douglas, in refusing to disclose the names of my prosecutors? Now I'm going to look over here at a document I've been demanding so I can see the names here, because your name is going to be right on it. Perry Douglas, March 10, 2003. You know what happened on March 10, 2003. That's your first day of employment at the District Attorney's Office. That's right. Been here for 20 years. Length of time leads to corruption in office. I'm going to read just a headline from WAMC in Albany Institution. Sol Greenberg does at 95, was DA for a quarter of a century. You're from Albany, you know Sol Greenberg. 25 DA. And he was corrupt. Just like Sandra Doorley's corrupt. Length of time leads to corruption. Sandra Doorley's been there for such a length of time now that corruption defines her. And I'll prove it right now. What the names are my prosecutors, and she refuses. So I'm evicted from my residence, and all my things are gone. All my books are gone. My television's gone. My bed's gone. My couch is gone. Every single thing I own is gone. I don't have any clothes because of you, Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, Paul C. Metzer, and Alex Renzi. I don't have any clothes because of you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Paul C. Metzer, and Alex Renzi. So the Federal Express is going to arrive in your office today, and I don't have any clothes because I have to go to Goodwill to buy clothes. It's my Goodwill receipts. And when I write the criminal complaint about Anthony on the spot, I'm doing this thing, locking the doors, locking me out, he will not be arrested. When I write the criminal complaint, my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, used to be an angel, doing this to me and not telling me the facts, the circumstances, she won't be arrested because she don't know what a crime is at the attorney's office, sheriff's office. So, who is it? Perry Douglas. This is the payroll for the district attorney's office. Who are the freaks? Who are the freaks prosecuting me in total silence? And you, Perry Douglas, will refuse because you, Perry Douglas, are corrupt. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have never committed a crime.